Yo, what is going on, guys? And welcome back to 365 Analytics. And today we are here. It is already week 13. That is unfathomable. And we are here today doing game picks as always. We have nobody on the bye this week, so we have a full 16 game slate along with the best, potentially one of the best football weeks of the entire season. We have Thanksgiving game, we have a Black Friday game. It is going to be a lot of fun. So, yeah, before we get into this, if you guys enjoy, please like, subscribe, be greatly appreciated. Um, and yeah, I don't have much else to say besides this past week we went 7-6, absolutely abysmal, and I am slipping in my game picks, and it's been a really bad year for me. I thought last year it couldn't get much worse than last year because in 2023 I was not very good either. That brings my record to 107-72 with 7-5 on the locks and 3-9 on the upsets. But here we are, 16 games late, time to respond and show them what I'm made of. So we have a lot to talk about this week. We are starting off with an NFC North battle at 12:30 on Thanksgiving Day. Let the turkey settle in here as it is the Bears and the Lions. Chicago's coming off a overtime loss where they came from behind to the Minnesota Vikings. I picked Chicago last week, and I don't want to fall into the trap, but and then we have Detroit. Detroit, they're on a roll right now. I believe they've won eight straight. They're no, 10-1. They're 10-1. They've won nine straight since they started 1-1, and they are absolutely rolling as they're on their yearly Thanksgiving home game at Ford Field. And I'm gonna start off the week with a bang. Give me the Chicago Bears. Listen, I've liked more what I've seen. My game picks are so horrible this year. We're taking big swings at this point in the year. I am taking the Chicago Bears to start week 13 off with an absolute upset. And I've liked what I've seen from the Bears more than I did with the Shane Waldron offense. Thomas Brown, the offense looks like it has a new life. DJ Moore is getting used more. He's more involved in the game plan. Caleb Williams looks a little bit better in the past 2 weeks. The Chicago offense looks better as a whole. And I think they storm into Detroit on Thanksgiving Day. Detroit, best team in the National Football League right now, pretty much unanimously. And I think they storm in there and they upset them and they shock the world to start off John Madden Thanksgiving. And then we're going to the post-turkey nap game. Jesus, the post-turkey nap game. This one's gonna hit. It is the Giants and the Cowboys. For the Giants, Tommy DeVito made his first start last week against the Bucks. He got absolutely killed, and he is sore. He has a sore throwing arm, I believe, and his status is up in the air. He will wake up tomorrow morning and figure out his status. If he can't go, it will be Drew Lock to start this game for the New York Giants. For Dallas, the home game in AT&T Stadium again, the yearly Thanksgiving game, obviously. Dallas is coming off a pretty shocking win against the Washington Commanders, where they beat them pretty good. I mean, Washington stormed from behind. Washington, they've lost three straight now. They look like they're falling off a cliff. So who knows if that win is as valuable as we would have thought 3 weeks ago. But Dallas did win the game. The offense looks good. CeeDee Lamb, despite Dak Prescott being added to the lineup and Dak Prescott being done for the year, CeeDee Lamb still is putting up great numbers. He's top three in the league in receptions, I believe. He is still elite. We still see what he can do. But I'm gonna take the Dallas Cowboys at home. I'm going with the home team here. I think that they get it done. I think the Giants are either bottom two in the league right now as we're talking about worst teams. I'm not a big Giants guy. Drew Lock or Tommy DeVito. I don't care who suits up for the New York Giants tomorrow afternoon. But the post turkey nap is going to absolutely hit during this game. So, yeah, I'll take the Cowboys at home pretty convincingly. And then Thanksgiving prime time. Ooh, this is a doozy. This is a good one right here, if I do say so myself. It is the Miami Dolphins who are red hot since Tua's been back. I think Tua's been back 5 games. I think they're 3-2 now. And the 2 games they did lose, it was absolute nail biters that they lost. So with Tua back, they look like they have a new life. Jalen Waddle has his best game the entire year last Sunday, and they look like they're starting to roll now. Tyreek Hill still hasn't quite found his groove, but The Miami Dolphins, they're trying to fight for an AFC playoff spot at this point. Storming into Lambeau Field on Thanksgiving primetime. Wouldn't John Madden have loved this football game right here? It's starting to get cold in Green Bay. I'm not quite sure what the forecast exactly is for tomorrow, but it's going to be cold. Tua, there's a big narrative around him over the past few years how the Miami quarterback, he can't play in the cold. He can't play in cold weather. Every cold weather game he's been in, he hasn't been very good. He said in this presser earlier this week, he's ready to stop narratives, he's ready to shut up narratives, and he's ready to prove people wrong. And I respect the hustle. I was really thinking about them going with the Miami Dolphins here, but Green Bay at home, Lambeau Field, prime time on Thanksgiving. I can't bet against them. And Tua is pretty unproven in the cold. This is a game that I think the Green Bay Packers have to keep up. They want that 5 seed potentially. Minnesota's right there. Still, Green Bay still has to play Minnesota once. They already lost to them. So it's going to be a tight race in the NFC wild card. And it's going to be interesting to see. I think Green Bay gets done at home, and Jordan Love throws a few touchdown passes along with it. And I think they get it done. And that's your Thanksgiving slate. But we have a game on Friday again, first time since week 1. It is the Las Vegas Raiders at the Kansas City Chiefs, an old school rivalry on Black Friday. Um, Last year in Arrowhead, these two teams played on Christmas Day, and Las Vegas upset them, to be quite frank with you. Las Vegas last week, Gardner Minshew went out for the season in a devastating collarbone injury. He will not play for the remainder of the 2024 NFL season. Aiden O'Connell, though, he is back. He's off injured reserve, and he will start on Friday going into Arrowhead Stadium versus the Kansas City Chiefs, who they got a win, but it wasn't very convincing against a Bryce Young led Carolina Panthers team. We'll talk about the Panthers more when we get to the Tampa Bay game, but they look on the up and up. They look like a better football team now, and they look like they're starting to find their groove. Dave Canales has those guys playing some decent football right now. Defense is still a big liability, but Bryce Young is playing better. He's playing as confident as ever in these past few weeks now. But yeah, I'm gonna take Kansas City Chiefs here. I mean, at home, Arrowhead Stadium, Black Friday game. Buffalo's creeping up on them in the AFC wildcard race. They're not losing this game. That's the bottom line. They're gonna get it done. They're gonna get it done on Black Friday pretty convincingly, probably by 2 scores, if I had to guess. Mahomes, their wins haven't been pretty, but they're gonna get it done. And then we start Sunday games. We start the Sunday games. And we start with a pretty good one. It is the Los Angeles Chargers at the Atlanta Falcons. The Chargers, they played Monday night in the Harbaugh Bowl. They lost to the Baltimore Ravens. J.K. Dobbins will not play in this game. Herbert didn't play the greatest, but he's had worse games. He's had better games. It wasn't awful, but he did not play the greatest. Quentin Johnston looked a mess on Monday night. And they're going into Atlanta, Mercedes-Benz Stadium, where Atlanta's well rested. Atlanta's off the bye week. They haven't played in a few weeks, and it is time for a playoff push for them. Do not let Tampa Bay creep up on you. Falcons, Falcons. This would be the biggest Falcons choke ever. I'm just kidding. This would be a big Falcons choke though if they let Tampa Bay creep up on them and win the NFC South. Falcons, listen, you cannot let Tampa Bay win the NFC South. You swept the Buccaneers. There is no reason. And the Falcons look shaky, but I'm taking them. I'm taking them, and I think they get it done. I think they're gonna get it done. I think at home gives them a big advantage. I think they know they need this one. They've lost a few straight now at home in Mercedes-Benz Stadium. They're going to get this done, and the Chargers are going to drop 2 straight. And then they're back off the bye week at Paycor Stadium. It is an AFC North rivalry, and the Bengals are well rested as well as the fans are not well rested. Only a week off. A week is not enough for what I've witnessed this season from this team. But it is the Steelers and the Bengals for the first time this season. We'll talk about the Steelers first since they're on the road last Thursday night in a snowy game. It was fun. Jameis Winston upset them in the classic Mike Tomlin road Thursday night football trap game. It happens a lot. And they're going into Cincinnati, who's off the bye week, and I'm gonna call a spade a spade. This is where we're at right now. I'm gonna call a spade a spade. This is where we're at in the season right now. It's do or die. It already looks shaky as it is. You're 4-7. Denver is playing as good as football as anyone in the entire league right now. Bo Nix looks absolute nails. Joe Burrow said in his presser today that it doesn't look good. You got to take it week by week at this point in the year. You might have to run the table. You're probably going to have to run the table. You're not going to get it at 9-8 with these team schedules. With Miami playing the football that they're playing, with Denver playing the football that they're playing, with the Chargers already beating you, you're going to have to run the table. Bottom line, and I'm falling into the trap again. I'm falling into the same exact trap that I fell in since week 2. I've picked against the Bengals once this entire season, and I was really considering it this week. But it's do or die, guys. Come on, let's call a spade a spade. You're 4-7. You're gonna have to run the table. Joe Burrow's playing as good as football as ever. I mean, it's a tough matchup. You got the Pittsburgh Steelers in a game that they really need. Baltimore. Baltimore won on Monday night, and they're creeping up on them. Baltimore and Pittsburgh still have to play one more time. I don't know. This is a game the Bengals need. This is a game the Steelers need. I'm gonna take the Bengals. Jermaine Pratt guaranteed to win. We'll see. Chad Ochocinco bet on what is it? What show is it? I can't think of the show's name right now. Inside the NFL, maybe. He bet with Ryan Clark that he would stop eating McDonald's for the rest of the year if the Bengals lost this game. Um, pretty crazy, but pretty crazy. And I'm gonna take the Bengals. My picks this season are chalked anyway. We'll take the Bengals. Take the Bengals. WHODEY, baby. Go Bengals. FTS. And then we have AFC South matchup with two teams that are not good right now. Well, Houston's a good football team, but they're on a pretty much a cold streak right now. It is the Houston Texans and the Jacksonville Jaguars. Houston, they're coming off an upset loss versus the Tennessee Titans. Will Levis was absolutely nails. Probably had one of the best games of his entire career. Definitely the best game of the season. And he threw the ball all over them, and the Tennessee Titans came out with the win. They're going to Jacksonville, which Trevor Lawrence is questionable. There was talks earlier a few weeks ago that he could be out for the year. That's most likely not a possibility now. Looks like Mac Jones obviously in line to start if Trevor can't go. And this is one the Texans are going to get. I think this one the Texans are going to get. The Jaguars, Doug Peterson, surprised he wasn't out last week or before the bye week. He's out any day now. That's the bottom line. The Houston Texans are going to win. They need a rebound here, and this is the perfect game to get a rebound in Jacksonville versus one of the worst teams in the entire National Football League. So I think they're going to get it done. And this one is interesting, huh? This one is interesting. Two solid NFC teams. I mean, it is the Arizona Cardinals and the Minnesota Vikings. This one's pretty interesting, if I do say so myself. The Arizona Cardinals, they're coming off a loss against the Seattle Seahawks. I believe it was 16-6. Defense played all right. Offense, it was not its day. Kyler Murray didn't play very well, and Seattle, they just beat him. I mean, the Cardinals defense, we're usually talking about the Cardinals offense being their strength and their defense being their weakness. Lately, in the past few weeks, it's been the Cardinals offense that's the weakness and the defense is the strength, which is kind of weird to say, but the Cardinals, they dropped 6-5 for the loss of Seahawks. They play again next week, actually, so they have a chance for revenge very quickly. They're going into Minnesota versus a stifling defense that Brian Flores has going on. They're coming off a win versus the Bears in overtime. And I've bet against Minnesota the past few weeks, and it's come back to bite me. I picked Tennessee over them. I picked Chicago over them. Two pretty big upsets. And I'm not falling into that trap again. I fall into a lot of traps, and this is one I'm not falling into again. I'm picking the Vikings at home. I can't believe I'm saying this, but I think the Minnesota Vikings are going to get to double-digit wins this week. That's kind of crazy to say. They just brought in Daniel Jones today as the backup. Interesting to see what that will happen if Donald's banged up at one point. Daniel Jones can step in. Kevin O'Connell. I I just need to say something about Kevin O'Connell real quick. Kevin O'Connell is outstanding. I was pretty critical of the hire. He came from the Rams. I was pretty critical of him when he got hired, but that dude's unbelievable. He is Sean McVay 2.0. He's what Zach Taylor thinks he is. He's unreal. But Daniel Jones brought in today. Minnesota Vikings, they're gonna go to 10-2. And then we have an AFC matchup. It is the Indianapolis Colts and the New England Patriots. This one's tough. I picked the Patriots last week for an upset, and I picked the Patriots last week for an upset over Miami, and that did not work. Did not work to say the very least. That did not work. I'm gonna do it again. I'm gonna do it again in Foxborough. They're wearing the throwbacks this week. Come on, I have to take them, right? I have to take them. They're in Foxborough again this week. They're wearing the throwbacks. I picked the wrong red. They're wearing the throwbacks this week. Pat the Patriot uniforms. Anthony Richardson. I will give props to Anthony Richardson, despite the loss against Detroit last week. Detroit is a powerhouse. Don't sweat it. Anthony Richardson has played so much better since the benching and since he's been back in the lineup. He's responded pretty well. He's not playing elite, but he's not playing as bad as he was and making as many mistakes as he was in the prior weeks. He's playing some better football, so I really could see Indianapolis winning, but I'm gonna take the Patriots at home. Drake May, I'm a big Drake May guy, man. I'm a big Drake May guy, big fan of him, and it sucks that he's a Patriot. The Patriots got another one. It's unreal. And this is weird. This is a weird game right here. It is the Seattle Seahawks and the New York Jets. The Jets are coming off the bye. The Seahawks are coming off a win against the Arizona Cardinals. The smart guy in me says to pick the Seattle Seahawks. The just go for it guy in me says to pick the New York Jets. I'm gonna pick Seattle Seahawks. This might be one I switch though. This might be one I switch during the week. But I think Seattle gets this one. I think the common sense pick says just pick Seattle. Just pick Seattle. Don't think of trap game. Don't think of trap game. Don't think of trap game. But I really could see it being a trap game. In MetLife Stadium, the Jets are wearing the all black uniforms. I really could see it being a trap game. This might be one I switch during the week. If I'm tempted enough, man, if I have a bad first 4 games on Thanksgiving and Friday, man, I might pull the trigger, but I don't know. The common sense in me says pick the Seattle Seahawks because the Jets are a mess right now. Aaron Rodgers said he's unsure if he wants to play in 2025. The New York Jets are a big mess right now. I don't even know what to say about them. Obviously, the GM got fired. It's a big mess over there right now. And the last 1 o'clock game brings us to Landover, Maryland, as the Tennessee Titans face off with the Washington Commanders. The Titans, they're coming off winning against the Houston Texans, a pretty convincing win. Will Levis played pretty well. They played pretty well all around. I mean, Brian Callahan, that was a signature win for him, responding off the Minnesota loss. Pretty good win for him. They scored 30 points. They did well against the Titan in the AFC South. They're going to Washington, who they need this one badly. They've lost 3 in a row. They lost to Pittsburgh, Philadelphia, Dallas, back to back to back. This is one they need. It's crazy we're even talking about this game as a game. I really could see Tennessee pulling off an upset, but Jaden Daniels, like, he knows that they need this game more than ever. Like, if they lose this one, it's slam the panic button. Like, slam the panic button in Washington if they lose this game. Because were we too fast to jump on them when they started 7-2? We might have been, because they look like big frauds right now. And Dan Quinn, everyone was going off about him, Dan Quinn, and how that how he turned them around, how him and Jaden Daniels, the connection. If they lose this game, the panic button needs to be slammed with their playoff hopes. But I think Washington gets it done. I think Jaden Daniels gets it done. And I think they go to 8-5 and they get a pretty convincing insurance win that they're gonna need. They play Philadelphia again still, they play Atlanta still, so they have some big games coming up. I think they win it right here. And then we have a pretty interesting NFC South game, a team that can score points versus a bad defense. If you can assume my pick with that, I think you take that. It is the Tampa Bay Buccaneers going into Carolina to take on the Panthers. The Buccaneers, they're on an uphill climb to get to the playoffs, obviously. Baker Mayfield, I love that guy, man. I love Baker Mayfield. I hated him when he was I hated him when he was on the Browns. I prayed on his downfall when he's on the Browns because I just naturally hate the Cleveland Browns overall. I prayed on his downfall when he was on the Browns, but man, ever since he's left Cleveland, he's become so likable. I'm a big fan of his. Going into Carolina, where Bryce Young, I will never give up on you, my friend. He's playing his best ball ever over the past few weeks. He looks confident. Him and Dave Canales look happy. Ever since the benching, he's just came back. He's responded. It's happy to see these two quarterbacks playing the way they're playing after what they've gone through in their career, the ups and downs they've gone through, the roadblocks. In Carolina, man, this game being in Carolina, like it tempted me to pick them a lot, but I think the more hungry team, and Dave Canales playing his old team here is an interesting storyline. The more hungry team, Liam Cohen is a great OC. He should be a head coach candidate. The bottom line here is it's a really hungry team. It's a really hungry team playing a not as hungry team, in my opinion. And it's a good offense versus a still pretty much a liability defense. I'm going to take the Tampa Bay Buccaneers here. I think they try to eke their way back in the playoff race, depending on how Washington plays. I know every Buccaneers fan will be watching that Washington Commanders scoreboard as that game goes on because that playoff place is tight, 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 and I think Tampa Bay gets it done. So give me the Buccaneers. And then we have the Rams and the Saints. Pretty weird game, pretty uninteresting game. I think this one's pretty predictable, to be honest with you. The Rams, they're coming off a pretty bad loss to Philadelphia, where Saquon Barkley ran for 255 on them, one of the top 10 rushing performances of all time in the NFL history on Sunday Night Football. Pretty embarrassed on your home field. Going into New Orleans, who they're coming off the bye week. Darren Rizzi is 2-0. Can he go 3-0? I mean, if he goes on a hot streak, we're going to be maybe we're possibly talking about Darren Rizzi potentially becoming the permanent interim to permanent head coach now, but I'm not going to be taking that to happen because I think the Rams get this done. Sean McVay's finding a way to keep them in the playoff race. That's the bottom line. I'm not going to believe anything else until I see it. Sean McVay, this is one they need. The NFC West is obviously tight. I mean, tight, tight, tight. 49ers had Brandon Allen last week. I'm thankful I switched my pick to Green Bay after I saw Purdy was out. Purdy, he should be back soon, but that NFC West is tight. Arizona, Seattle, San Francisco, Rams. Those four are tight. I made a TJF video on it earlier in the season, and that was probably like a month and a half ago. Maybe about a month ago, and it's still tight to this day. So it'll be interesting finishing that division. Rams and 49ers playing up Thursday night in a few weeks. It'll be an interesting finish over there. But yeah, give me the Rams. Yes. Oh, and this one's a beauty. This one's a beauty, baby. It is the Philadelphia Eagles and the Baltimore Ravens. I know we said this about Buffalo, Kansas City in week 11. We said that was the game of the year at this point. This could potentially top it immediately. This game's national TV on CBS, Nance and Romo on the call. This one's fun. Two running backs and new offenses, new shiny offenses that have absolutely elevated their offenses to the max. Two running backs that elevate their running quarterbacks, and this one will be fun. It is the Philadelphia Eagles and the Baltimore Ravens. Two titans in each of their conferences. The Eagles, they're coming off a Saquon Barkley legacy game, and they're coming off a win versus the Rams where they won pretty convincingly. They're 9-2. They've won six straight. They've won six straight since starting 2-2. They're 9-2. Baltimore. Wait, they won seven straight? They started 2-2, I know. Are they 9-2 right now? They're 9-2, right? Yeah, I think they're 9-2. Baltimore. They're coming off a Monday Night Football win in the Harbaugh Bowl. I mean, Lamar played well. Derrick Henry played well. Derrick Henry didn't get in the end zone, but he played well. This is a tough one, but I think the main matchup here is the Baltimore Ravens defense going to be able to stop the Eagles receivers? I think Devontae Smith might suit up for this game. He didn't suit up for the Rams Sunday Night Football game, but A.J. Brown and Devontae Smith will be tough, tough, tough for the Ravens defense to stop. Philly's as hot as anyone in the National Football League right now. Saquon Barkley should be in the MVP conversation, but it's a quarterback award nowadays. I'm gonna pick Philadelphia Eagles. They're as hot as ever. They're playing amazing football, and Saquon Barkley, outstanding. Well, I don't want to rip on the Giants because the Giants fans have been through enough already. But yeah, give me the Eagles. And then Sunday night football. We have a tale of two teams here and a tale of two storylines here. It is the San Francisco 49ers and Buffalo Bills. San Francisco, they're coming off a loss. Brandon Allen played. Not much to say about that. Didn't play very well. Packers beat them. They had Brandon Allen at quarterback. Nick Bosa was out. Not much you can do about that. Buffalo, they're coming off the bye well rested. I mean, I'm gonna take Buffalo. I'm gonna take Buffalo. If Purdy plays, I think it's trending towards Purdy not playing. If Purdy plays, I might switch to San Francisco. I will not lie. I might switch to San Francisco depending on how my picks week going. But if Purdy doesn't play, I'm picking the Buffalo Bills. Slam dunk, 100%. If Purdy does play, I don't think he threw today. I think it was reported that he did not throw in practice today, but if Purdy does play, I'm going to pick the 49ers. If Purdy doesn't play, I'm picking the Buffalo Bills. I'm pretty sure it's trending towards Purdy not playing, so I'm going to take the Bills for now. And I think they get it done. And they're a Titan in the AFC. They're a good football team. They're a Super Bowl contender. Not much else to say. So they're going to get it done at home. And then to close out the week, it is a pretty mid Monday Night Football game. The Browns and the Broncos, an AFC clash. The Browns, they're coming off a pretty fun win, to be honest with you. Jameis Winston, all smiles. Jameis Winston is hilarious. Side note, I hate that he's a Cleveland Brown because when he was in Tampa Bay and New Orleans, I was a big fan of his. But now he's a Cleveland Brown. It's like, ugh. But he's one of the funniest players in the entire NFL. I mean, how can you not like James Winston? They're coming off winning against Pittsburgh in the snow game, and they're going to Denver. Bo Nix. Bo Nix. I don't know if I said this last week, but Bo Nix is playing outstanding football. He entered himself into the O'Roy conversation right there with Jaden Daniels and Brock Bowers. And it hates. I'm gonna be rooting. I'm gonna be rooting for the Browns in this game as a Bengals fan. It's crazy to say, but I want Denver to lose this game. I don't think they do, man. I don't think they do. Sean Payton and Bo Nix look like a match made in heaven. Bo Nix is playing great football. It really sucks to say that, but Denver, they're playing good football, man. They're playing good football. So, yeah, I'll take the Denver Broncos here, and I think they get it done. And those are the picks with Chicago, Dallas, Green Bay, Kansas City, Atlanta, Cincinnati, Houston, Minnesota, New England, Seattle, Washington, Tampa Bay, Rams, Eagles, Bills, Broncos, with my lock of the week being Denver over Cleveland, and my upset of the week being Chicago over Detroit. The upset was a slam dunk. I mean, the upset was really a slam dunk. I gotta change this to italic and Denver. But the upset was a slam dunk. Chicago definitely my biggest upset of the week. But Denver, though, I mean, the lock was pretty tough this week, to be honest with you. I mean, I couldn't really find a team that's a lock. I mean, Darren Rizzi has those guys 2-0. Who knows who wins that game? Carolina's playing better football as of late. Washington's fallen off a cliff. I was thinking about locking them. But who should I? I mean, Houston, I don't want to lock a division game in Jacksonville, in Duval. I mean, I could lock Kansas City, but we saw what happened on Christmas. I don't know. I didn't know who to lock, so I'm locking Denver on Monday Night Football. And yeah, those are the picks, and let's get right into the power rankings. And here are the Week 13 power rankings. Pretty crazy we're already in Week 13. Lions, Bills, Chiefs don't change. I think that's your top three. That probably will be pretty consistent towards the end of the year. Eagles, Ravens, Vikings, all advancing one at 4, 5, and 6. Steelers go down three with the upset loss on TNF. Packers at 8, Chargers 9, Broncos cracked the top 10 for I believe the first time all year. Pretty deserving. Bo Nix, man, I can't say enough about him. Seattle at 11, could flip those two. I won't argue that. Houston, pretty bad loss. They go to 12. They were at 11 last week. It's pretty crazy to say, honestly. They were at 11. Okay, they only dropped one. Arizona at 13, Miami at 14, Commanders 15. They're -5. They've lost three in a row. They're deservedly that low now. Lose to Tennessee, you might be back in the 20s, and I'm not even kidding. Probably not, but you might be. Niners at 16, Rams 17. NFC West is all tight, obviously, in the teens. Falcons, Bucks stay the same. Colts, Bengals also stay the same. Those four all stay the same there. Bears, Saints, Browns, Cowboys, Jets go down two on the bye week just because of how everything flipped out and how the Jets are playing. Titans, Panthers. Panthers go above the Patriots. They go up one. Patriots with the loss, blowout loss to the Miami Dolphins. Raiders, Giants, and Jaguars stay the same at number 32. And yeah, those are the power rankings. That's going to do it for this video. I hope you guys enjoy. Have a great holiday. I mean, Thanksgiving is my favorite holiday. As you can see, I'm a pretty big guy. Thanksgiving's my favorite holiday. I mean, enjoy the food, think of what you're thankful for. That's all I gotta say. And enjoy the football, enjoy the parlays, enjoy the food, enjoy the family, enjoy the thankfulness, enjoy everything about that. If you guys enjoyed this video, please like, subscribe. It's always greatly appreciated. Happy Thanksgiving. See you next week.